We are live on location in Nueva Jersey. I didn't even say that correctly, but we're in New Jersey today, live, doing the podcast, JD Talking Sports. Drop the G on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok. Subscribe to iTunes. Subscribe to my YouTube page. I need more people. It said I had like 4 minutes of views on my YouTube page, and it hurts a little bit. So the picture I have up today on IG is that the Oilers have 3 100-point scores for the first time since the 95-96 season, which was done by the Penguins. And the Penguins back then had Jágr. They had Jágr. I want to get this right. Yes, Jágr, Lemieux with 161. Jágr with 149, Francis with 119. They didn't even make the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost in the conference finals in 7 games to Florida. The Panthers ended up losing to the Avalanche that year in the Stanley Cup Finals. They got swept. So now you have, so I looked up, so Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the number 1 overall pick in 2011. Then Draisaitl was picked up in 2014, 3rd overall. And Connor McDavid went 1st overall in 2015. So if you look at it's unbelievable what these guys, NHL scoring leaders this year. And so you have, Connor McDavid has 148 points. Draisaitl has 123. And I guess Nugent just hit 100. Yeah, okay. So Connor McDavid has 62 goals, 86 assists. Draisaitl is second with 51 goals and 72 assists with 123. And then in 7th place, well, he's tied with McKinnon, you have Nugent-Hopkins, who has 36 goals, 64 points, 100 points. And I'm looking up his stats here by season. I'm trying to see all. Could this be his? Yeah, I'm looking at points. He has never had a 100-point season. He's not, the best season he had before this, Nugent-Hopkins, he had 69 back in 18-19. He is having a career year this season. All right, hey, listen, the Rangers have Kakko and Lafreniere, who are having good seasons. But they're not, and listen, you know what? They're also bashing the Oilers because they're saying the Oilers, their plus minus isn't good, which means that they score a lot of goals, but they give up a lot of goals. Whereas the Bruins have Pastrnak, and everybody else is, it's a more team effort. And we're going to see what happens in the playoffs. I mean, they've never even made it to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but we'll see what happens. I know I always say playoffs. I always think of Jim Moore. Playoffs. But we're going to see what happens. But I thought, it's still an accomplishment. Come on, you have 3 guys with 100 points. That's a season to behold. Yes, let's be honest here. Now, the Yankees were supposed to play in Baltimore today. That game was rained out. It's going to be tomorrow at 3:05. And I was trying to see who's pitching tomorrow. Not that I really give a shit. But the Yankees did win yesterday 4-2. Trevino hit a home run. Volpe got a hit. And yeah, Yankees are playing better baseball, right? That's all we care about. So the Yankees are 4-2. They're going to play the Orioles. It was postponed, but of course, I really wanted to see. Yeah, game 1 will be Clark Schmidt, who did not pitch very well. 8.10 ERA, did not pitch well first game against Dean Kremer. Baltimore's 3-3, and the Mets are going to play at home tomorrow at 1:05. 1:10. I'm sorry, and it'll be Edward Cabrera against Tyler McGill. Now, the Mets, this is interesting. The Mets have not been under 500 since, this was the first, they're 3-4 now. They got swept. They lost 7-6 yesterday, though Alonso hit 2 home runs. So Bumble sent me that one, but there's a lot of problems on the team. First time in 550 days under 500. Last year, listen to this. Date of when the Mets were first swept in a 3-game series last year was September 14th, which is the end of the season. This year, April 5th. Not a good sign. But we're not going to panic. Now, this is something interesting. Francisco Alvarez is joining the team tomorrow ahead of the opener against the Marlins because Omar Narvaez expected to miss 8 to 9 weeks with a calf strain. Which, they were going to bring up Francisco Alvarez, who they've been touting forever, and came up last season, can hit the ball very hard, might I add. And he's going to start. He's going to get most of the playing time. They didn't bring him up to platoon, and Thomas Nitto will be backing him up. I think this will be a good thing. We'll see what happens. I mean, it hasn't started raining here, but they said it's going to rain. We'll see what happens. Also, the Verlander MRI, reduced inflammation between elbow and shoulder, but timeline uncertain. So I don't know what the hell that means. It means he'll be ready in a month. That's what I mean, who knows? I'm not a doctor, never was a doctor. I saw Lance Reddick basically died from a heart attack or stroke. He had heart conditions. So I saw that today. That's why you got to get your teeth cleaned, because that's important, and go to your cardiologist as you get older. Now, the Rays 6-0, they're the 10th team, first time they've ever been 6-0. They're the 10th team in the wild card era to start with 6 straight wins. The previous 7 made the playoffs. 2015 KC, actually the only one of the 9 to win the World Series. And they beat the Mets. And the last one to win the first 6 games in the wild card era was 2016 Baltimore. They made the wild card. So the Rays gave up some runs, but they're still playing great baseball right now. So we'll see how that goes going forward. D-backs are having a foot-long hot dog wrapped in bacon. The foot-long Sonoran-style hot dog. Bacon-wrapped hot dog seasoned with pinto beans, pico de gallo, mayo, and mustard. I saw a picture. It is quite stupendous. It's a foot-long hot dog. So my father asked if it was Hebrew National, but I don't think you can have the kosher hot dog with the bacon touching it. I think they would fight each other, and it'd be a fight to the death. So that's not happening. But I thought very interesting, very, very interesting. And I didn't get a price on it. I will not try it. I think that will destroy me. I'm not really a bean person. Don't like the beans. But, hey, you know what? It's all about, options for fans going to the games. The games are faster. I mean, the Yankee game was pretty quick yesterday, and they played terrible condition yesterday. And Franchi, who's the Yankee yesterday? Oh, that shit, I got to look that up. The Yankees right fielder